Let's welcome Joel.
Maybe we'll let Joel.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
Yeah.
no, to people that are listening.
Hey, Joel, welcome to Clean Radio.
Welcome to Clean Radio.
You got it.
Unbelievable. I can't believe it's Joel. Aren't you supposed to be in Temple?
Buddy.
Explain.
We're all online with you, the whole family, the whole mishpacha.
Okay, to people out there that are listening, that means family. It's so funny. You put three Jews in a studio, they think everybody listening is Jewish. And I'm allowed to say that.
Yeah.
But
when in fact this show has a giant Haitian listening.
Actually, it's mostly Catholic, but
Yeah. I will tell the story about who's on the air.
And explain
Into the microphone.
To people out. Yeah.
Yes.
Explain to people what an Eskimo
A Jew is.
An Eskimo, as the way I understand it, is someone that brings you out of the darkness into the light. And if you're in the frozen tundra out there in the snow and you don't know how to get out, the Eskimo kind of guides you away. And the old story goes is that there's a guy sitting in the bar having a drink, and he says, how did you get out of the tundra? You know, how you were frozen. He says, I just got on my knees. I prayed to God. I just said, God, please get me out of this. Get me out of this. And then the guy said, did God get you out of this? He says, no, about 5 minutes later, an Eskimo came by and got me out of here. So, that's the old story. But Joel,
An Eskimo will also take you out of the cold and into an igloo.
yes, into the warmth.
So, Joel, how do you and David know each other?
Oh, we're mishpacha. Dave's my cousin.
Oh, really?
In-law, but we dropped the in-law.
Yes. We're really great cousins because we're not related by blood.
That's why we're so close. And Joel
can actually like each other.
Joel is my Eskimo. Let me just give him Joel. Is it okay to give your info, your background? He's
100% welcome.
Absolutely, yeah. Joel is an MSW, works with social work and works with addicts, alcoholics, with the veteran, the VA. Which
that's awesome.
I'm a veteran. I'm a VA member, and I had an epiphany one night when it was just it was so bad, and I was just going through the insanity of trying to stop, and I just it was 7 in the morning, and I was up all night, and I was just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't do this anymore. And something came in my head was to call Joel, and someone who would be the last person on my list to call, because that would be confessing and basically taking contrary action, as we know around here, and basically telling someone, hey, I need help, to reach out, say I need help, and to have faith and trust, and it was the right decision. He talked to me for 2 hours, and he told me where to find help, and it's been fantastic ever since. That was 15 plus years ago.
What do you think it is? By the way, you're listening to Clean Radio Live. We're on the phone with Joel, Dave's our guest cousin. But what is it about alcoholism and addiction? And I'm asking this to you, Andrew, both of you. Why is it so hard to ask for help?
Well, I think there's a lot of shame and denial, and it's people want to keep using. Well, there's a part of addiction, there's a part in your brain that doesn't want to stop. There's a fear of, if you stop, that you're not going to get any reward at all. And it's something that you've come to rely on, and you feel you need just to feel even slightly okay, even though you're feeling sick and dying at the same time. So there's that fear that if you stop, what's really going to happen? Is it going to be worse? And if you tell people that you're going to stop, and most people that have a problem with drugs or alcohol have tried to stop on their own several times and failed. So they know that if they confess to someone close to them, that's like taking a bigger step towards actually taking responsibility for their drinking and using.
Right. And
there's a lot of embarrassment and shame if they fail again. So to have people that you can be close to, or people that can understand what you're going through and support you, whether you fail or whether you succeed, and will stick with you through that process of getting sober, that's what's important. I think that, when we talk about Eskimos, that's who that person is generally, is someone that, you're close to or you're friendly with, and that they understand what you're talking about, and you can trust them enough to share your deepest and darkest fear and secrets about what you've been doing.
And Joel, is Joel sober, or he's just an MSW?
MSW knows the
problem. Wow, just an MSW.
No,
Throw us all under the bus.
I didn't mean just an MSW, but it's amazing. What is it about Joel? And I want people to hear this out that are listening. I mean, I know you're on the phone, Joel, but what is it about your cousin that made you feel safe with him?
Well, that one,
Because I want people out there that are listening to
well,
find that one person like Andrew was talking about.
Well, for me, it was like I had to logically think it out. Like I was in this dark place and I needed help, and I had really nobody that I thought I could call and trust. Because my world was so small at the very bottom and the very end. And the bottom is where you stop digging. Okay,
Yeah.
I learned that you don't have to lose everything, and the bottom's where you stop digging. And that the fact is, I had a relationship, I had a connection with Joel, obviously from family and weddings and bar mitzvahs, etc. And the fact that he was a social worker at the VA, I'm a veteran, so I put all these things together as a sign, and that was what prompted that call. But I'd love to hear Joel's comment or take or on addiction and any questions.
Yeah, I was going to say that, if for anybody out there that's listening that may be helping another person come back into sobriety as an Eskimo, as I am, I think the most important thing is, as the people in the line are pointing out, is being non-judgmental. And that is that when a person comes to seek help, it's important for us to be there, non-judgmental, to be there for them, and to assist in any way we can. I can't change anybody. I can't make them do anything. But if they want, I'll be there for them any day of the week. And I think that's the common bond that Dave and I have, that he knows he's got me available to him when he needs. And that's to help and support and be there and give, an ear to whatever he wants to tell me.
Joel, this is a question that I would normally actually answer, but I'd like to ask you the question, and that's what's the difference between someone that's an enabler and someone that's helping people?
That's actually
Great question.
Yeah, that's a great question because, unfortunately, people cross that boundary way too many times. I think that someone that's helpful to someone who's seeking sobriety is someone who they themselves are strong with their own sense of self and who they are, and are willing to lend a hand. Yes, be unconditional, but also be that kind of strong support to give the guiding light that they might need, that person might need in order to seek sobriety, as opposed to the enabler who kind of falls victim to the person who is in addiction and wants so much to help them that they are, in essence, not helpful and may even be hurtful in that person's attempt to seek sobriety. So I don't know if there's any clear-cut guidelines, but it's watching that line, being supportive, being helpful, but yet not allowing the addict to kind of take over.
I mean, often, Joel, we see this with family members have the strongest problem with the boundary between being helpful and being an enabler, because they're so closely wound with their family member,
with guilt,
and here's a situation where you actually were able to manage that balance with Dave. Was that, you think, from your professional training and family members that are out there listening that are struggling with wanting to be supportive and still love their loved ones? What advice would you give them as far as getting support to maintain that boundary and how to properly approach dealing with their loved one?
Always seeking advice, kind of knowing your own boundary, where your line is, and then to, check it out with someone else. Am I doing right? And I also want to give credit to Dave. Dave really was at a point in his life where he was interested and willing to make the changes that were necessary. So I didn't do the work. He did the work, and that is the truth. And it's all his credit for getting himself to where he is today. And that's one more point I want to make. I'm sorry to go off subject, but Dave's ability to give back to others, when we talk about Yuckaholics, I know that now that they've announced the dates and he's got the tickets, he's going to be at the VA trying to give back and to make sure that there are other veterans of his similar in similar situations that it's going to be available to them to come to the Yuckaholics event. And he has done that year in and year out. And it's to his credit that he's able to kind of see that other people now before him are in the same situation that he was in, and he's able to give back to them. That's an important part of his sobriety.
Yeah, I'm going to second that, Joel. By the way, you're listening to Clean Radio Live. And you know, you were talking about your cousin being of service, and David Martell is one of the who's in the studio tonight, who helps, you know, put on Yuckaholics. Is one of the most giving and serviceable people to, and I say that that could come out wrong, and we're also in the studio tonight with almost legendary comedian Barry Diamond.
It's also quite serviceable.
Yeah, and
Family show.
And we're on the phone, with the person that helped David get sober. Yes, David.
I just want to make a comment. Thank you for the kind words, Joel. And I will say that, yes, I've helped facilitate, but there's been very kind and generous benefactors that always step up to the plate, that throw in extra cash and say, hey, bring somebody that can't afford. You know, Yuckaholics says no one will be ever turned away due to a lack of funds. You know, which is a fantastic thing, but we have people that donate, and I basically facilitate and use that extra money, get the tickets, and give them to the VA and any other organization, you know, where the guys could use a laugh, you know, and certainly the veterans are a bunch that can.
That's actually really amazing. Joel, thank you so much for the call. You know, you got a great cousin here.